That's loud. That's loud. That surprisingly fits him. That's a good team. They could with that song. What the fuck? Hey, Gen C. Hi, Kay. How you doing? Okay, putting the song a little bit back up. That song was loud, though.
I was waiting for Jay to tell us when we're ready, but we're live. See, we told you it's live. You didn't believe us. Okay, so hi, Jay.
Hi.
So from the time that we announced that Five Nights at Freddy's was coming to Dead by Daylight,
You have a Freddy
obviously
plushie.
the excitement has been off the charts for Five Nights at Freddy's fans, for DBD fans, for myself, maybe you, and you know, people are speculating. Who's the killer going to be? Are we going to get a map, et cetera, et cetera? We answered those things in a high-level way at PAX a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
Indeed,
that was
we will
awesome.
have a killer, Springtrap. For the first time ever, you get to play as Springtrap instead of be terrorized by Springtrap. Well, if you're a survivor, you'll still be terrorized.
so.
And also, we'll be bringing a new map. So Jay has come here to join us. And if you have watched streams before, you would know Jay from such hits as Chucky and also Dracula. Jay's the
True.
killer designer on both of those, as well as Springtrap. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm also excited for you to be here,
Oh.
Jay. So let's get into it. So as I mentioned, you worked on some pretty iconic licenses already. So when you were assigned Five Nights at
I can't
Freddy's,
wait.
what was it like when you first started working on that chapter?
It was really interesting. I didn't have a lot of experience with it. Excuse me, my throats are a little dry today. I was obviously aware of it. I mean, everybody is. It's become so iconic in such a short period of time. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't really realize how kind of deep the lore and the story went
Dude, the lore's
before I
crazy for
started
Five
kind
Nights
of
at
looking into
Freddy's.
this chapter. So it's been cool, and like the story is way more horrifying than I ever thought it would be, to be honest.
Oh yes, despite how cute it is, very horrifying. And actually, I think that's a very initial common ground DBD fans and FNAF fans will have. Deep lore on both games, much more than you'd expect. And once you dig in, it's really cool stuff, and it goes, like you said, it goes places.
Yeah.
So I guess the way you mentioned it, sounds like you had to do a lot of research to get up to speed.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. You know, one of my favorite things about doing licenses like this is they give me an excuse, I guess, a reason to become like a real big nerd about one specific franchise or IP, and that's always amazing. You know, Chucky, I got to watch all the movies, and Dracula, we played the games and watched stuff. So this one, I did the same thing. I jumped in. My main thing was YouTube and Twitch, watching streams. I watched 60 to 70 hours of content of some of the more popular streamers, I guess we can say, all through all the games, including the VR stuff and things. You know, not just to see the games and how they played, but also the players, how they react, the community, how they react, what kind of, getting the inspiration for the experience of FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's, excuse me.
FNAF is okay to say.
Yeah, and I
Everybody say
think that's
FNAF.
a really special thing. You didn't just tackle it from a mechanics point of view. You wanted to understand the community. You wanted to understand
Yeah.
the players, make them feel as welcome in DBD as possible. Dead
Yeah.
by Daylight, sorry. We're going to be doing this a lot. It's just quicker to use acronyms. So I think that's a great touch. So any surprises you found along the way as you were doing that?
Yeah, I mean, this won't be a surprise to most people, but it was to me, was, like I said, just how passionate the community is. They're like you said, it's very similar to DBD in that respect of like very passionate fans and very passionate community. People who kind of they watch the trailers and they watch gameplay and they pixel peep.
Oh yeah.
And they
Yeah.
kind of start stringing things together. And I imagine there's at least a few Five Nights fans with like the boards with pictures and the string all over them.
I don't have that
Yes,
one.
which Jay, you're kind of famous for with Dracula. Hand drew some meme-worthy art, so maybe we'll have some more. But yeah, they're probably picking apart our outfits as we speak. Like, what does it mean? I just wanted people to see my cool new mint-colored shoes. That's all.
I just wanted people to see. Don't know if I can show it. My daughter bought me Freddy Fazbear socks for Christmas.
Got Freddy on the feet.
That's so funny.
Likewise, my son gave me his Freddy plush for good luck today. So we are loving it over here. So before we jump into the gameplay, why don't you tell us about how you started to approach the design of Springtrap?
Yeah, it was a really interesting one because obviously, if you know both games, gameplay-wise, they're pretty diametrically opposed. Five Nights at Freddy's is really about sitting still. You manage resources, particularly the battery, and try not to get killed. Whereas DBD is all about moving around, doing the gens. If you sit still, you're gonna get yourself
Not a
killed.
good strategy.
It's not a great idea. So it really became about kind of nailing down what the quintessential Five Nights at Freddy's experience is. Things like the security office, the battery power, all those amazing jump scares,
Yes.
and just kind of figuring out how to adapt that into the context of DVD.
Perfect. So with that transition, let's get into Springtrap specifically and his gameplay.
Yeah. So one of the goals for Springtrap was to figure out how to lean into those jump scares, which are kind of the thing about the Five Nights at Freddy's games, right? Without making him just a straight up stealth killer, which was something we wanted to avoid.
Okay,
So I had this
interesting.
idea of doing something that we'd never really tried before, where we focus Springtrap kind of as a grab-based killer, because jump grabs in DBD, they are
Look at
inherently
that, that's cool.
jump scares into themselves. It's right there. So we just kind of leaned into that and gave him more of those opportunities.
There he is right there on screen, by
there
the
he
way.
is, yeah.
I think we even
And-
have another one of him doing a little bit of a grab.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And
crazy.
yeah, and we gave him a pretty unique
saw the-
projectile, which is really
we see
cool.
the mouth.
So
Oh, that's
Springtrap has
great.
2 weapons. I get to finally announce. I know the community have been talking about it. So he has a large pizza knife as his main weapon, and a heavy fire axe as his power.
Oh, the fire axe.
You have a fire
So
axe?
let's talk about the axe. How do you use the axe? How's it different from projectiles that other characters in Dead by Daylight use?
Yeah, so it's a very unique. It's not going to play like any other projectile killer that you've tried before. We wanted to do something a little bit interesting with it. So if you throw the axe and it hits something in the environment, whether it's a missed shot or it's deliberate, it creates an AoE that lasts about 15 seconds. And if a survivor walks through it, you get killer instinct on them for a short period of time. If you hit a survivor with it, kind of gets lodged in their back while you're chasing.
Kind of have an axe lodged in their back. No
Huh.
big deal.
So they can remove it manually, or they can do it quicker in co-op with another survivor. As Springtrap, you can also retrieve it yourself. If you get in close, you can skip kind of the steps of downing the survivor and picking them up. You get in close to a survivor that has the axe embedded in them. You click the button, you grab the axe and the survivor at the same time. You get a cool little jump scare, and then you're carrying them on your shoulder. A couple of little notes. One of them is while you have your projectile available, 4.4 meters per second. There he is.
There's a little glimpse of some jump scare action.
But once you've thrown the axe, you actually move at 4.6
Aha.
meters per second. It's something that we've never really done base kit for a killer. It makes for some really interesting tactical choices, meaning that you have to recall the axe manually. It never comes back to you automatically unless you throw it out of the map, because you can make a mistake. But yeah, as long as it's in the environment or in a survivor or whatever it is, you have to manually recall it.
So it lightens his load a little bit, makes
Okay.
him a bit faster.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Feels a bit weird.
So
but
that brings us
we'll
to
see.
another unique part of his gameplay, and I think super iconic to Five Nights at Freddy's, the security office. So let's get into that.
What?
Yeah. So it was really important for us to give the killer and the survivor a really kind of interesting shared experience in that space, which allowed us to also lean into the jump scares. And some of the ways we came up with was to introduce a security office, which is part of any trial. The Springtrap is the killer. It's part of his power.
Oh.
But it acts as kind of a transitionary space. So we have 7 doors that appear randomly around the map at chest spawns. And these can be used by survivors or killers to teleport around the map.
Oh.
Yeah, there be a door.
There it is. And survivors can also use them for surveillance. So as a survivor, you interact with the door. It brings up the camera view. You'll get the kind of iconic map view in the bottom right of all the different cameras. On the bottom left, you'll see your battery power, which we'll talk about in a second.
Oh.
You can see what's going on in the other doors. You can switch between doors. If you see something that, if it looks safe on the other end, you press the button. Your character goes into the security office, and then it's kind of like a hands-off, almost like a theme park experience where you see this first-person view going through the office, which is really cool.
Oh.
And one thing you mentioned, again, just in case we have new folks playing, regardless of what map you're playing on, this functionality, the security room will be there as long as Springtrap is the killer in the match.
Yeah, exactly.
That is interesting.
As a survivor, if you happen to see Springtrap through a camera, if you train your camera on him for a few seconds, he'll be revealed for a little bit for the whole survivor team.
Ah.
And what about if, what if Springtrap goes in at the same time as a survivor goes in at a different door and they meet?
Yeah, so since they can both use the doors in the security office,
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for that interaction. So if a survivor is moving through that space from one door to the other, and Springtrap, excuse me, chooses one of those 2 doors, whether the one they're coming from or the one they're going to, he'll interrupt them in the security office for a fun little surprise.
Ooh.
Awesome. I love all the little touches that the team has planted in there like that. I think the fans are really going to love it, including this. You mentioned the battery. Managing the battery is part of this as well. So how's that work in DBD?
Yeah, so survivors share a universal battery. It's shared amongst all of them. It drains a little bit, kind of ticks down per second while you're using the cameras. We didn't want players to just be the man in the chair and just sitting there and telling all their friends. So it drains a little bit. Using the teleporter to move around the map takes off a big old chunk in one shot. And then you have to kind of manage that battery as a team. It slowly recharges on its own over time, but you have to kind of manage when and where you're using it. If the battery does run out, the security system, which is kind of the doors, the cameras, the office, goes into shutdown mode for 45 seconds. But Springtrap is not affected by the battery. So if the survivors have kind of overplayed their hand and they shut the security office down, they've kind of given up their one bit of power in this chapter, and Springtrap can still use the doors and bounce around and do whatever he wants.
Dangerous. Fantastic.
Okay, that's gonna be fun to test.
Disabling the doors?
Yes.
Yes.
So to go back to the axe, if the killer hits either a camera or a door, the whole thing, with their axe, that door and the camera becomes unavailable to survivors. They can't use it to teleport away, they can't teleport to that door, and they can't see through the camera that's been disabled.
Oh,
When
okay.
the killer retrieves it, that effect lingers a little bit. It becomes a really cool way of I need to scope this area out, but I don't want to be revealed or seen. You can disable the door, move around, use it to fake the survivors out.
Got it. But it's not permanent. The door can be used again after the axe has been retrieved.
Unless it's in shutdown, which means the survivors can't use it anyway.
Right. Cool. Okay. So speaking about moving around the map, which it sounds like we have a new exciting way to do that. One of the coolest things about the chapter, in fact, is the map. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is now a new map, a new level within Dead by Daylight for DBD fans, specifically in the Withered Isle realm. So what can you tell us about the map?
Yeah, show me.
So the art team and the level design team, much like me, they did a ton of research. And I don't say this just because we're doing the stream here, but it's becoming one of my favorite maps. I love it so much. In the same way that we worked hard at kind of integrating a lot of opportunities for jump scares into the killer gameplay, their team really wanted to make sure that they did the same when it comes to things like Easter eggs and scares around the map. So it really pays off if you're kind of an exploratory player a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm gonna explore that
So
map a
are there
lot.
some
Then.
areas that you want to shout out that Five Nights at Freddy's fans might recognize?
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be a lot. You'll see a lot of small references and stuff, but obviously we've recreated a lot of kind of the iconic areas from the game. But we're also letting you exit the pizzeria to explore the outside a little bit, which is really cool. and we wanted to kind of add a little bit more space to allow for more dynamic chases and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for the rooms, we've got the lobby, we've got the dining hall, of course, with
Okay.
the full animatronic band on stage. It's very cool. And we have the arcade, which is, it's all very kind of creepily decorated, like a birthday
Yeah.
party. And, we
They
have
look so
areas like the
good.
kitchen and even the mechanical room, which is cool. And
We can
Oh, yeah,
see a
there you
little
go,
glimpse
yeah.
right there too.
yeah, so altogether, this should kind of feel like I guess a formerly working
Yes.
pizzeria. And, of course, since it's Dead by Daylight, the entity's weird pustules and deformations are everywhere to remind you exactly of where you still are and
You're
where
making a
you're stuck.
judgment call on those pustules there, Jay.
But if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I think you're really going to love the map. They've done a lot of really cool work.
Yeah, it's super fun, and it looks really good too. The art team did knock it out of the park. But also with Springtrap wandering around, it's like a terror. And I think for Five Nights at Freddy's fans, like, whoop, you're going to be in familiar territory.
Yeah.
now.
I can't wait.
So one other nice thing that we did mention on the PAX broadcast, but I do want to mention it again, we're going to have a separate queue for this map specifically, which means you want to go to the game and you just want to check out the map. Normally, in the past, you'd be in the general rotation of maps and all that. Now you can go straight in just to the pizzeria without having to hope that you get there. So
I
it's going to be
can't
its
wait
own
to see
queue when
this.
you join the game.
Yeah, and that's a feature that's going forward with any chapter with a new map. We'll have a
Perfect.
unique queue for that new map, which is really cool.
Perfect. Okay, how about some last tips
Yep.
for survivors and for killer players?
Yeah, so for the killer, as Springtrap, get used to the arc of the projectile. As I said, it's super unique compared to other projectile killers. We've done something that really allows you to kind of pull off some pretty gnarly trick shots. We've seen some really interesting ones on our internal playtest. It's been super fun. So test that out, get used to it, and take advantage of the jump scares.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're playing with your friends, hearing them shout in your ear is always a great time. But for survivors, take advantage of the cameras and the doors. It may seem a little unsafe because you can be interrupted or whatever, but they're really valuable tools if you get used to them and you use it to reveal the killer and kind of scoping out the area. You'll get more of an advantage out of them than I think you realize at first.
Heck yeah.
But yeah.
Well, Jay, thank you so much, as
Thank you.
always, for joining us on the couch with your wonderful work and the fun stuff that you've planted in there. Soon enough, people will get to play around with it. I know you're going to
Yeah.
be glued to your Twitch screen so you
Oh,
can watch
yes.
people play it, test it out. Thank you so much for joining us. The show must roll on. So next, we're going to bring out our friend Justin Banks to fill you in on DBD's anniversary event that's right around the corner.
And it's the final masquerade, so the next anniversary is gonna be something else.
But we're going to be okay because before we close the curtain, we've got other things happening right before, right?
That's correct. On June 17th, we have our highly anticipated Five Nights at Freddy's chapter releasing.
Yeah.
Along with it, the Five Nights at Freddy's collection. Now,
Show me.
as you know, Dave and Matt already revealed one of the outfits at PAX, but we got a few more to show off today that no one's seen quite yet.
Okay.
But in case you did miss PAX, first of all, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Second
Yeah,
of all,
I won this
You saw that
costume
we
so bad.
revealed our Yellow Rabbit legendary outfit for our new killer, Springtrap. This is an incredible outfit from the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that features the likeness of Matthew Lillard, who played William Afton on screen before the Springlock accident that really turned him into
That's
Springtrap.
so good.
Now, this outfit has original voiceover from Matthew Lillard that was recorded just for Dead by Daylight, as well as some special voiceover and animations in the lobby.
Okay, I cannot wait to get my hands on that. But are there going to be other versions of Springtrap coming into the fog as well?
There is. We also have a Glitch Trap, a legendary outfit for Springtrap.
Glitch Trap?
Glitch Trap first appeared in Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted and its sequel, Help Wanted 2, where he played a
It
very
looks so
crucial
good.
role in the story. So it's
It
amazing to
looks
have
so
him as part of
good.
this collection. And as an added bonus, for both legendary outfits, when you unlock them, you'll receive a portrait badge of those characters as well. So a Glitch Trap portrait badge for Glitch Trap, and a Yellow Rabbit portrait with Matthew Lillard's likeness when you buy that as well. We also have two very rare outfits for Springtrap, which are both taken from Five Nights at Freddy's Special Delivery, the mobile AR game, which are Clown Springtrap and
Yeah, okay.
Toxic Springtrap. Now,
And
Clown
Toxic,
Springtrap is
oh.
pretty much straight from the game, looking just like fans will remember him. But we put our own twist on Toxic Springtrap to really make him our own.
Oh,
That's
that
all.
looks
For the
good.
survivors out there who want to show their love for FNAF, there will be Freddy Fazbear's T-shirts available for all original survivors. You can buy them individually
Oh,
or
no.
bundle them together at a discount.
That's gonna be great. I mean, I love like the shirts.
Oh
Especially
no,
because it
that's gonna be
gives them
so
those nice
expensive.
casual